Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome aboard here to Shannon on Radio Tfi. Be the first time I attempt doing this for just a little while on Radio TFI's airways, of course, as well on the YouTube. I am John Shannon. I thank you again for joining me here. We're going to talk about a few things from over the last few hours, not to least to mention the state funeral for former President Jimmy Carter. I plan on covering some blustery, if you will, from former president, now soon to be President Donald Trump. We'll cover that a little bit. I'm going to have a surprise guest here join me in the Central Ohio command studio here. Somebody that, yeah, you could say she has a little bit of an opinion here and there. Absolutely, but I look forward to having that conversation on the airways, if you will. So I don't know if you took the time now to watch the television coverage of President Carter's funeral at the National Cathedral. I know that I was watching for quite a while. Diane and I were watching it for quite a bit. It was, of course, it was sad, to lose such a great man. But hearing some of the eulogies that were presented were wonderful. Those were kind of wonderful memories, if you will, through the Carter presidency and, of course, throughout his private life. Of course, Trump was there. Trump and Melania were both there. There are some opinions that should have been noted that were mentioned that he shouldn't have even showed up. I don't know how to take that, to tell you the truth. People, he was invited by the Carter family. So it isn't like he just went in there to just for the sake of showing up. He was invited, so as I understand it, Trump and President Carter did remain in some degree of contact, even though I don't know. Jimmy Carter is a better man than me because all the crap that Trump talked um, afterwards, talking about the Panama Canal and the mistakes and the mistake that was or whatever, and just listen to Trump bluster about President Carter. I don't know if I was his family, if I would have invited Trump, but it is what it is. Like I said, they're better people than me. Like I said, the Carter family invited um, Donald and Melania, and it is what it is. We as Americans, we need to respect um, respect his wishes. Quite frankly, I have no phone line to connect to here, so I will tell you right up if you want to join in here. Send me a text uh, through YouTube. You can send me a tweet at John Radio Tfi. You can send me a tweet that way. Well, look who came to join me back here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my partner in crime, my partner in life, Miss Diane McCarty. Hi, baby.
Hello.
Glad you took the time to from your busy schedule to come and join me out here. As I was saying, you developed some opinion about what's been going on. Uh, you and I both, as you recall, were mad as hell when they were doing when President Carter was landing at Andrews, and how the bringing the casket from the plane and bringing it on to or bringing it out on the horse drawn carriage out to out past the Naval Academy. And it was, excuse me, not Naval Academy. I believe it was Department of the Navy, if I'm not mistaken. But that was kind of nice in its own right. But how um, CNN, which, and I know a lot of my friends on the Twitter don't care a whole hell of a lot for CNN, um, but I watched it to get the coverage of the proceedings for President Carter, and CNN pulled away from that coverage to cover some blusterous um, press conference by soon to be President Trump. And as I recall, you and I both weren't very happy with that, were we?
No, because I found it disrespectful. And the only thing that he did through the whole thing was basically it was like a rerun of his rallies. He bitched, he whined, he moaned, he complained. Uh Basically he's also spread his lies like he was doing at his rallies, and it just that's all that pretty well was. And he what little he said about Jimmy Carter was disrespectful, and anything he said about President Carter has been disrespectful. And again, I understand he was invited. I don't know if it's protocol to have the remaining ex presidents or former presidents go to a president's funeral, But the fact of the matter is, if it was me and I was a member of the family, I would be very adamant about I don't want him anywhere near here. I
Yeah.
don't want him in the church. I don't want him at the funeral procession. I don't even want him in the Capitol Rotunda when my father is lying in state.
Well, so like I said, the Carter family are, quite frankly, better people. They're better people than I am because with as much crap as Trump spoke, notwithstanding the fact of what, in my opinion, what Trump has done to ruin this country, or attempt to ruin this country's good name. Uh, it's like it's went everything. It went against everything that Jimmy Carter stood for, in my opinion. And I sure as hell didn't want to watch him at his quote unquote news conference talking down about President Carter, about the whole thing about the Panama Canal. He has indirectly hinted that he's not above using the military to acquire the Panama Canal. Um, is that what this country is going to be remembered for? That we're going to be remembered by it's just a big land grab. He's trying to get Greenland. He's made off color remarks about Canada, that he was somehow responsible for Prime Minister Trudeau losing his position and having him resign as Canada's PM. So it's embarrassing as an American. It's embarrassing to go into a world setting with Donald Trump as your leader. There's nobody. He'll go ahead and try to tell you that he's got respect from world leaders and yada yada. But the fact remains that nobody respects the guy. You know,
He's been banned from 38 countries at least. Okay. Somebody saying he's respected by world leaders and good friends with this person and good friends with that person, yet he's been banned from 38 countries. The only ones he's good buddies with, and quote unquote, and he doesn't even really have their respect when you think about it, because really he's a tool for dictators and wannabe kings and everything else. He's basically a tool.
well, you think he's a useful idiot, is what it boils down to as far as Putin is concerned in Russia. He's a useful idiot. And he'll go into this trying to, pretend that he is respected by Putin. Let's face it, Putin respects nobody. If anybody pays any attention whatsoever to world events, Putin doesn't respect anybody. And for Trump to go on the world stage trying to pretend that Putin respects him is ludicrous. There's no way. And now he's going to try to take the Panama Canal. He's going to try to buy Greenland. Well, it's been stated Greenland's not for sale. Um, it has been stated, they don't want, they're not interested in selling Greenland to America. Look at Canada. I feel bad for the Canadians because the Canadians, at least, in all the social media bantering I've done, the Canadians are great people. I've had a multitude of relationships through social media with various Canadians. Hell, I would, if it wasn't for the fact that Canada, I hate to say it, is is just a cold Ohio, and it's I'd hell, I'd love to move to Canada as far as just to be a part of that lifestyle out there. Who knows? I don't think they'd want us in Canada, do you?
I don't know, but I know there are a lot of good people there, and they want nothing to do with the United States. And I got to tell you, there's a big part of me that I understand because look how things have been. All right, I'm very much a senior citizen. I remember how things used to be. I know how things are going to pretty well go under this new administration. You have got a someone with the mentality and the drive of a 2-year old, a very spoiled, narcissistic 2-year old at that wants to be king or dictator. Or I don't know what title it would be anymore, but he's not even sworn into office, and he's already talking about, well, we're taking over this because it's for the good of our country, and we're taking over this because of this reason. And he's going around. It's like, okay, so did you and Putin make a deal where he gets half the world and you get the other half? Is that your thing? This is a child. I'm not even going to use the word man. This is a child that admires and loves dictatorship.
Yeah.
So, people, what the hell do you expect is going to happen? He has now been put in a position where he can pretty well do what he wants to do. He's got the Supreme Court stacked. I mean, when they were doing this presidential immunity thing, I thought, yeah, well, why wasn't I surprised? He stacked the deck. He talked to Judge Alito last night, again, trying to stack the deck for tomorrow to get away from his sentencing. And I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, great that he's not so far going to get out of having to be there for his sentencing. But until I hear Judge Merchan say, go to jail, do not stop, do not collect $200, you're in there for the rest of your damn life.
Yeah, what that would be, if that's a fantasy in itself.
That is something, So until I hear that, what I'm expecting to hear is basically him telling him he's on parole for 4 years. And by then, nothing else is going to happen to him.
Yeah, that's pretty true. I can't argue with you on
I
that.
mean, that's pretty much what's going to happen. He's going to walk in there tomorrow and basically be told, "Well, you're on parole."
Little slap on the wrist is
Slap
all.
on the wrist, you're on parole. And then after the 4 years, nothing else is going to happen.
Exactly.
He's not going to get called back and say, okay, you had your parole for 4 years, but we changed our mind. Get your ass in prison. That ain't going to happen. By then, it's going to be totally forgotten about. Nobody's going to care. So that's basically what's going to happen. So excuse me if I don't get really excited about the fact that he's still got to go to his sentencing tomorrow, because right now it's just an empty thing to me and a waste of taxpayers' time and money. Why even bother to go through the bullshit pomp and circumstance of it if you're not going to do a damn thing about it?
Well, that's a very valid point. You wonder, okay, well, yeah, what's the point of going to sentencing and what have you? All I could, and if he's going to be on parole, well, how long is he going to be on parole? The thing about being on parole, well, there are conditions to parole. So let's hope going forward on that, let's hope that, okay, if he's on parole and if he does screw up, okay, lock him up, throw away the keys.
Again, I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Yeah, I know there's conditions on parole, but he's gotten away with so much so far. I don't expect any conditions be put on the parole. I
Yeah.
mean, again, I hate to sound like that. I hate to say something like that, but with everything he's gotten away with, 34-time convicted felon. He hasn't paid anything. He's gotten basically almost away with murder. Okay? And my faith in the judicial system is pretty darn down there.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Because a 34-time convicted felon is now president. He got away with his good friend Elon Musk buying the election for him. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He does what Musk tells him to do, pretty much. In Europe, Germany, and I think the UK, and there's one or two other countries that are investigating Elon Musk for election interference there. Okay? They're wanting to do something about it. They're actively doing something about it.
All right.
Nothing's being done about it here. Elon Musk, saying 4 hours before he was pronounced the winner of the election that Trump was going to win. And there was a lot of, shall we say, technical type stuff going on. No. I mean, I, for one, and along with a lot of other people, don't think the election was, I think it was bought and paid for a long time ago. And so is Trump.
And I know, of course, Ed, Bill, and I have talked about this, and I think that the consensus is with uh, with Ed and with Bill to this point is we don't want to be we don't want to be another Donald Trump. We don't want to be pissing and moaning about the election and what have you. Maybe they have more confidence in the American people that, okay, he's not going to be able to get away with certain things. He's not going to be able to do certain things. He'll be held accountable, and people will be able to step back and say, well, I told you so. Told you this is going to happen. And I think to tell you the truth, I think that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the opportunity. Okay, he was elected. How the hell he got elected, legitimately is beyond me. I have no clue how he got elected legitimately. Excuse me. But, I'm not one to believe in a lot of conspiracy theories. So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything there or not as far as, his Musk's satellites or whatever the hell it was he was using to help with the counting of the ballots or whatever. I don't know if there's anything to that or not. God knows if it were Trump, if Trump came out on the losing end under that particular situation, he'd be crying like a puppy. He really would. If there were enough breadcrumbs laid. Excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it as a conspiracy theory. I'm just saying, it's what I feel. A lot of other people feel. I feel the election was bought and paid for, and that's I'm just what I'm gonna do like everybody else. Just wait and see what's going on. His MAGA base is finding out that he's not going to deliver everything he promised he was going to deliver, and we'll just see how things go. Eventually, yeah, they're going to fall off, and they may even turn against him. And I'm just going to sit back with my little bowl of popcorn, and I'm going to watch it all unfold.
That bowl of popcorn sounds pretty good right about now.
You just ate lunch. No. Anyway, I'm just going to watch it all unfold. I mean, I get on Twitter and I see on my Twitter page and everything, I see a lot of people that, are posting stuff and maggots that are all upset and ticked off because he basically, well, let's just say he conned them. They feel like they were conned. And I'm just sitting back and going, hey, we tried to tell you. Now, hey, you get to suffer with the rest of us. You were laughing because he won the election, but the fact of the matter is he's going to take you down just like everybody else is going to go down. And that's the way it is. If we lose our stuff, we lose our benefits, you're going to lose your benefits too. And guess what? It ain't going to be the free ride he promised. Already. Well, I'm going to bring grocery prices down.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, no, once prices are high, you can't bring them down. I'm going to end the Ukraine war within 24 hours after I'm elected. And supposedly he presents Putin with a solution to end the war in the Ukraine, and Putin tells him to go screw himself. Oh, well, there's another thing. Just one thing after another that he's promised he was going to do. You know, all of a sudden the price of eggs and groceries and gas and everything else that they were complaining about, all of a sudden you're not hearing that anymore. He's saying, well, I'm going to take over and we're going to make Greenland, Canada, and Canada a part of the United States.
Well, for one thing, you ask yourself, again, the Panama Canal, and you talk about Canada and Greenland and whatnot. What the hell does that have to do with crime on the streets? What does that have to do with uh, what does that have to do with the price of gas? What does that have to do with the price of eggs? You promised to bring down prices and bring down inflation and what have you, and you go talking you're gonna go doing this stuff. What the hell does that have to do with what does acquiring the Panama Canal or acquiring Greenland, what does that have to do with the price of eggs?
Not a thing, but the fact of the matter is he's running around saying that there's Chinese boats that are hanging around there and everything like that. And he's, talking about bad stuff about China, but every bit of his swag he's selling at, his flea market swag he's selling.
Oh, made in China.
Everything's made in China, from the hats down to the shoes, to those
tennis shoes,
paint,
yeah.
Kids' tennis shoes.
Yeah, sprayed with Krylon.
Sprayed with Krylon gold paint. And the maggots are paying $400 for those. Selling $2 bills with his picture on it. Fake $2 bills with his picture on it. Normally at $40, but I'll knock it down to 20 for you. Bibles with his own, shall we say, form of religion in it. $60 a pop. Let's see, how much were the gold watches, honey? A couple $100,000. Etc., etc. You got these maggots supposedly complaining about the price of gas and eggs and groceries, but they're paying for that crap.
Of course.
And I've seen flea market swag in better shape and look better than better made and everything than that crap.
You could buy that crap at Woolworth back in the day for crying.
Yeah. And it was probably better made too. Melania, and oh my God, those stupid ornaments, Christmas tree ornaments she was selling. Oh my God. Now, first of all, not one of the designs from the looks of it that I saw on Twitter had anything to do with Christmas. And they were not that great a looking. And I can't remember how much they were selling for, but I know it was a ridiculous price.
Yeah.
Now, or I should call her Malaria. I like that. Anyway, now she's made a deal with Amazon. They're going to pay her $40 million. Was it 40 or I don't remember. It was some outrageous price to make her life story into a movie.
I'd rather, if they're going to use a former porn star to make a movie about, make it about Linda Lovelace, would you please?
It's supposed to be about her charitable work and all the things she's done for everybody and all this kind of stuff. Well, there's $25 admission for beginning credits, end credits. Okay, all done. What did you think?
I wouldn't pay 25 cents to see.
No.
I seriously would.
She's just a high-priced, I don't know, do I say hooker, cunt, what? Just, my God. And did you see, I don't know if anybody saw, but did you see her look all through the funeral? She looked pissed that she had to be there. Trump must not be paying her enough to be there, but forced her somehow. Holding his hand going into the Capitol Rotunda to quote unquote pay their respects last night. Gee, I wonder how much he had to pay her to do that.
Well, he's running out of money, so he has to be careful. But he can't afford to be handing Melania that type of money because he owes everybody else. Jean Carroll. I mean, he owes these people tons of money.
He owes a lot of people where he had his rallies, thousands and thousands.
Don't forget about that.
Which he hasn't paid yet. He bankrupted his own casinos. Bankrupt a casino.
I've asked that question.
He bankrupted his own casinos. Excuse me, wasn't he impeached a couple times?
I seem to remember that.
And all this stuff, and it's like, what? And this is what you stupid maggots have voted to run the country. Now, Elon Musk is going around saying his Dodge thing that he and Ramaswamy are doing. Supposedly they claimed they could find $2 trillion in the budget to cut. Now they're saying we'll be lucky if we could find even half that.
Of course.
It's like...
Of course, they named it after their whole goofy-ass Bitcoin. They call it Doge or whatever the hell they call it.
Dodge, DOGE, I think.
Oh,
I think is what they call it.
it
It's just, it's really pathetic and pitiful. And you've got the rest of the world laughing their collective asses off at, it's just, and it's like Trump and Trump Jr. are running around. Oh well, Canada, they want to join us. No, they're laughing their asses off. They're going, "Are you out of your minds?" We really, Canada has offered to buy Minnesota, I think, and Virginia,
yeah,
and I don't remember who else.
Alaska and Minnesota.
Alaska and Minnesota, and
Yeah.
we're all going, "Hey, we have no problem being the 11th province or 111th province or whatever it is. No problem." There's a lot of people out there going, "No problem. You guys have got free health care. You take care of your people and everything else. It's no biggie. Go for it. We're all for it." They Greenland has no desire to be part of the United States.
No.
Canada has no desire to be part of the United States. Mexico has no desire to be part of the United States. And the Panama Canal, none of them want to either.
I can't think of her name, the lady who's the president of Mexico now.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's pretty much told Trump to blow it out of his ass.
She pulled out an old map yesterday and had a name of her own that that they could call it something. I don't remember what it was, Mexicana America or something like that. She thought that was a pretty name.
Because of the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
I thought that was I thought that was a pretty good. I thought that was pretty cool. So they've all basically told him to get fit. Yeah, they're still going around. And Don Jr. didn't even spend 24 hours in Greenland. He walked in there. Figured he was going to get a hero's welcome, and they probably just kicked him out.
Well, they come right there. They're trying to say that Greenland was full of MAGAs, and they said, "The hell we are. We're not MAGA over here. The hell with that."
Really? Yeah, because in less than 24 hours, he was back here. And, if somebody even put something in there saying, well, the reason he came back was the fact he found out that was actually snow.
Well, he couldn't find his Coke dealer while he was there, so.
Whatever. But, no, it's just like, so, yeah, I mean, and Trump is still saying, oh, well, they love us in Greenland. They want to be a part of the United States. They kicked your son out in less than 24 hours. What part of that don't you get?
Exactly.
Oh, my God.
Like I said here, I don't have any phone to talk to everybody here with, but if you feel like if you're on the YouTube there, look up Radio Tfi USA on YouTube and find this video here, and you can leave a message in the comment section and whatnot. If you can leave the message live, go ahead and do so. I'll even think about replying to you. So all that. So folks, I like I said, I don't know how or why they're doing this, or why Trump is doing this. I mean, this is silly. This has nothing to do with the quote unquote legitimate reasons why he was elected to office. They were making all the reasons because of the economy, because of immigration, all of this. There's not a damn thing of what Trump was talking about that has anything to do with any of that. Not a damn thing. And I just for the life of me, I don't buy it. It was a waste of time cutting into the time we could have, as Americans, we could have reflected on Joe. Excuse me, on Joe, on Jimmy Carter. I'm glad we had the time to do that. We did this. I think the networks. I think CNN did a pretty good job of covering that. I think so. CBS did a hell of a job of covering it. Um, like I said, we sat and watched that for the better for the better part of the early afternoon, late morning, early afternoon. We were watching that.
Yeah, we were watching it, and then the local news cut in around noon.
You
And
know,
then we just went on over to CNN because they were still showing the rest of it. We missed the last part of it in the cathedral, which I wasn't real happy about because of the fact that the local news cut in. The local news could have waited another half hour. I realize that on CBS there's a soap opera that starts at 12:30, but God forbid we make that not start till 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
we don't watch soap operas around here,
No, we
so
don't. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, the local news could have waited another half hour and started their coverage of the local stuff at 12:30. So anybody that was watching and interested and wanted to, from afar, shall we say, pay their respects to President Carter, could have done that. They might have liked to have heard the last prayers at the end of it. They might have liked to have seen the procession out of the cathedral, to the hearse, so that they could, on the way to Andrews Air Force Base, so that he and see his body to be flown back to Plains to be buried next to Miss Rosalind. And I just, and that could have waited for about a half an hour. And that when they cut in at 12 o'clock, it ticked me off because I wanted to see the rest of that. Because that's very important. It was very, very important to me and to a lot of people there who loved and respected President Carter and all the good work he's done all of his life, right up until the end. And to me, that was just absolutely and positively disrespectful to cut it like that.
I totally agree, honey. I
That
totally
that was
agree.
very disrespectful. I don't care. Yeah, fine. OSU's got a big football game coming tomorrow. You could have waited to talk about it at 12:30. Okay?
Yeah,
And there's just stuff what they were showing could have waited until 12:30 because that's pretty well when the services were over and everything for President Carter. And the only thing that should have been going was memories and respect for someone who was one of the best presidents and one of the most wonderful humans on this planet.
yeah.
And
I won't get an argument on me on that. I
I just I that's just the way I feel. And it's just that's the most important thing.
the thing about President Carter was that the thing that I remember most about him is yes, he had his faith. He was a Bible, excuse me, Sunday school teacher. He had his faith. As a matter of fact, he mentioned that his faith is made him be able to handle the prospect of dying. He was ready to go. He very very relaxed. He wasn't afraid of it. We should all face the thought of death in that manner of just being well within your faith, right with your right with your faith. And the best part about it is though, he didn't rub his he didn't rub his religion in your face. He didn't he mentioned his faith. But he didn't sit there and bang you over the head with the Bible saying you gotta repent, you gotta this, that, or whatever you want to call it. And that was one of the most admirable things about Jimmy Carter. Like Ed and I were talking earlier, saying that if Jimmy Carter walked up to one of us saying, I like to talk to you about Jesus Christ or whatever, we'd listen. I'd listen to him in a minute. I really would. I just, it's almost to the it's almost like watching his life. It almost makes you want to. I'm not going to say, "Oh, well, I'm going to become a better Christian because of Jimmy Carter." No, that isn't going to happen. But hopefully knowing about Jimmy Carter and knowing about his life will help me become a better person. So, well, I tell you what do we got here? It's about 2:30 already Eastern time. Excuse me. I think at this point in time, I'm going to cut this loose for the day. You got anything else you want to add to this there, my dear?
No, I pretty well said what I wanted to say.
Well, I'm glad you joined me. This was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. You haven't hit me over the head with a skillet yet, so life is good. So we're going to bug out of here, folks. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us. And we'll catch up to you soon. Make sure you catch Ed and I and Bill on Just Killing Time here this coming Sunday. Matter of fact, Sunday, January 5th. Yeah.
Your January 5th is past, honey.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me.
Sunday's the 12th, dear.
Sunday's the 12th. Thank you very much, honey. I appreciate that. Well, whenever we're on with Just Killing Time here, we hope you join us then. Until then, um, for Diane, I'm John reminding you, remember, boys and girls, Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Good afternoon, everybody.